In early October 2025, forecasters at the UK Met Office noticed something unusual: a vast, dense mass of Arctic air gathering strength far to the north. This wasn't just a routine cold front, it was a system with the potential to change the season overnight. The cold air began pushing steadily south toward the UK, its movement tracked by satellites and radar in real time. Computer models quickly picked up on the threat, predicting a dramatic and rapid temperature drop across much of the country. For the first time that autumn, the models hinted at the possibility of snow, even at lower elevations where it rarely falls so early in the year. Meanwhile, the public was still basking in the gentle warmth of autumn sunshine, strolling through parks in light jackets, completely unaware of the dramatic change brewing just days away. The Met Office responded swiftly, issuing early warnings and special advisories. They forecasted significant snowfall, especially for northern regions, and urged people to prepare for a sudden shift in weather. Newspapers and news channels quickly picked up the story, with headlines warning of an October blast, a rare and early taste of winter that caught many by surprise. Weather presenters explained the science behind the event, showing how the jet stream was dipping unusually far south, opening the door for frigid Arctic air to flood across the country. Yet, as is often the case in the UK, the exact timing and location of the heaviest snow remained uncertain. Meteorologists cautioned that small changes in the system's path could make a big difference. A shift of just a degree or two in temperature could mean the difference between cold rain, icy sleet, or a thick disruptive blanket of snow covering roads and rooftops. As the hours ticked by, final forecasts confirmed what many had begun to fear. A major snow event was now imminent, and preparations needed to be made. Warnings were upgraded to amber in several regions, signaling a high likelihood of travel disruption, power cuts, and hazardous conditions on the roads. Authorities urged people to check on elderly neighbors, stock up on essentials, and avoid non-essential travel as the storm approached. Supermarkets saw a sudden rush, with shoppers filling their baskets with bread, milk, batteries, and other necessities determined to be ready for whatever the storm might bring. Across the country, streets grew quieter as people heeded the warnings, peering out their windows and waiting for the first flakes to fall. The mild, golden days of autumn were coming to an abrupt end, replaced by a sense of anticipation and uncertainty. Winter was about to arrive, not gradually, but with a sudden dramatic entrance that would be felt across the nation. The shift from autumn to winter was happening weeks earlier than usual, catching even seasoned weather watchers off guard. Families gathered around televisions and checked their phones for updates, anxious yet excited to see what the coming days would bring. The stage was set for a weather event that would be remembered for years, a true test of the nation's resilience and readiness. And as dawn approached, the first snow was just hours away, ready to transform the landscape and mark the true arrival of winter. Scotland was the first to feel winter's bite, as the season arrived earlier than anyone expected. On October 14th, snow fell thick and fast across the Highlands, transforming the rugged landscape into a wintry wonderland almost overnight. By midday, over 10 centimeters had accumulated in some areas, blanketing fields, hills, and forests in white. Snow reached lower levels, even touching cities like Aberdeen and Inverness. Rare for October, and a surprise for many residents who hadn't yet prepared for winter. The cold Arctic air met Atlantic moisture, creating perfect conditions for heavy snow. This collision of weather systems brought a sudden and dramatic change. Rural roads quickly became treacherous. The A9 saw major disruption, with vehicles struggling to make progress through the thickening snow. Gritters and snowplows worked non-stop, but many smaller roads became impassable, isolating some communities and making travel risky. Schools in affected areas closed, giving children an unexpected snow day. Laughter echoed as they rushed outside to play, making the most of the rare October snowfall. By evening, northern Scotland was buried under a deep blanket of snow, with some houses nearly hidden beneath drifts. The scene was beautiful, but challenging. The snow brought a magical stillness, but also a sense of isolation and uncertainty. Farmers checked livestock, making sure animals were safe and sheltered, while emergency services prepared for a tough night ahead, ready to respond to any crisis. Children built snowmen and threw snowballs, while parents worried about travel, supplies, and how long the cold snap would last. The early snow was a stark reminder of nature's power, catching many off guard and signaling that winter could be harsher than expected. Scotland had its first taste of winter, and it was a powerful one, setting the tone for the season ahead. The rest of the UK watched the news, wondering when the snow would reach them, and if they too would wake up to a world transformed. The country's attention turned south, with everyone waiting and watching, bracing for what would come next as winter's reach extended further. While Scotland shivered under a thick blanket of snow, its cities and towns ground to a halt, with blizzards sweeping through the streets and icy winds rattling windows. Meanwhile, far to the south, southern England enjoyed calm blue skies and gentle winter sunshine, as if living in a different country altogether. A stubborn high-pressure system shielded the south, acting like an invisible barrier that kept the bitter cold air locked in the north, unable to break through. London and the southeast basked in mild, crisp autumn days. No snow, no chaos, just the gentle chill of winter and the hum of city life continuing as normal. The contrast was striking. While Aberdeen battled snowdrifts, people in Cornwall sipped coffee outdoors, soaking up rare winter sun. The dividing line ran sharply across the Midlands. North faced relentless snow and ice, roads treacherous and fields white. South of that line, temperatures hovered near seasonal averages, with green fields and people in light jackets strolling comfortably. Clear nights still brought frost and fog to the south, painting the countryside silver in the early morning, but the days remained manageable. Nothing, however, compared to the north's disruption. Roads blocked, schools closed, and daily routines thrown into chaos by relentless snowfall. The UK became a meteorological battleground, with cold Arctic air pushing south and milder air stubbornly resisting, creating a dramatic clash overhead. Forecasts for the Midlands were uncertain. Would precipitation fall as rain, sleet, or snow? No one could say for sure, adding to the tension. The country was truly divided by its weather, with each region experiencing its own version of winter. For a few days, the north and south seemed to live in different seasons, separated by little more than a line on the map. The situation highlighted the UK's famously unpredictable climate, where sunshine and snow can be just a few miles apart. Everyone watched the forecasts, wondering which side of the divide they'd end up on, and how quickly things might change. The weather's next move was anyone's guess, leaving the nation holding its breath for what tomorrow might bring. Before reaching the UK, the Arctic storm had already caused chaos across Europe. Countries like Poland and Serbia were buried under deep, unexpected snow. Sarajevo's tourists scrambled for winter gear as cities ground to a halt. Some regions saw up to 50 centimeters of snow in 24 hours. The weight of wet snow brought down trees and power lines, leaving thousands without electricity. Emergency crews struggled to restore power and clear roads. Airports and highways were paralyzed. Social media filled with scenes of stranded vehicles. The storm's severity in Europe was a warning for the UK. Meteorologists used European data to refine UK forecasts and warnings. The message was clear. This was no minor dusting. The UK needed to prepare for a powerful, disruptive weather system. The chaos abroad was a live preview of what was coming. The nation braced for impact, hoping to avoid Europe's fate. As snow moved south, travel chaos erupted. The M62 over the Pennines was among the first major routes to close, stranding hundreds of drivers. Gritters and police worked to clear roads, but accidents and ice made travel dangerous. A roads and rural routes became impassable. Breakdown services were overwhelmed. The rail network suffered frozen points and blocked lines, causing widespread cancellations. Passengers waited on cold platforms, frustrated and uncertain. Airports like Manchester and Birmingham closed runways to clear snow, leading to flight delays and cancellations. The country's transport network ground to a halt. The economic and human costs mounted, missed appointments, lost hours, and cold, stranded travelers. Even with preparation, the snowstorm exposed the vulnerability of modern infrastructure. The first major snowfall had brought the UK to a standstill. Heavy snow brought down power lines, plunging tens of thousands into darkness. The weight of snow and ice snapped branches onto cables, causing widespread outages. Families faced freezing homes, no lights, and no way to cook. The situation was especially dangerous for the elderly and vulnerable. Some rural homes lost running water as electric pumps failed. People relied on candles, blankets, and camping stoves to get by. Engineers battled blizzard conditions to restore power, often working through the night. For some, outages lasted days, highlighting the fragility of overhead networks. Communities pulled together, but the misery was real. The storm exposed the need for more resilient infrastructure. Cold, dark homes became a symbol of the storm's true impact. Amid the chaos, community spirit shone. Locals brought hot drinks and blankets to stranded drivers. Pubs opened as shelters. Neighbors checked on each other. Volunteers with 4x4s drove essential workers and delivered supplies. Social media became a tool for coordination. Requests for help met with swift responses. Young people cleared snow for the elderly, and communities rallied together. Informal support often arrived before official help. The storm, for all its hardship, brought people closer and revealed the best in many. Public health agencies issued urgent warnings as the cold intensified. The UK Health Security Agency raised its cold weather alert, urging people to stay warm and check on the vulnerable. Flu and COVID booster campaigns ramped up, and hospitals prepared for more admissions. Councils activated emergency plans, opening shelters for rough sleepers. Outreach teams worked through the night to bring people indoors. Emergency services responded to countless incidents, road accidents, rescues, and medical emergencies. Coordination centers brought together police, NHS, and utility companies. The public was advised to stay home and only call emergency services if truly necessary. The combined effort aimed to keep everyone safe during the storm. The nation's resilience was put to the test. Even after the snow stopped, the cold lingered. Snow remained for days, with black ice making roads treacherous. The Met Office issued further warnings as the cold snap persisted. Forecasters predicted frosty nights and more wintry showers. The early winter put pressure on health services, energy, and transport. Experts debated whether this signaled a colder than average winter ahead. The event was a wake-up call for winter preparedness, checking boilers, insulating homes, stocking grit. The October snowfall of 2025 was unforgettable. It brought chaos, beauty, and community spirit. The storm tested the nation's resilience and highlighted nature's power. As the country thawed, the lesson was clear. Winter can arrive long before the calendar says so.